Hello there, welcome to Prog Monster. My name is Murph and I am the host of this show, a show dedicated to progressive rock and other forms of rock music. So we're back on day 3 of the Great Prog War. 2 new bands, 2 new albums, a new challenge for me. So the bands we're doing tonight, first of all, this one was the first one that I've had that I didn't have or hadn't listened to either of these albums before. And although I'm familiar with both bands, especially one of them quite well, it seems to me on paper a bit of a mismatch. So it really is up to how the 2 albums sounded, because on paper, Jethro Tull, Broadsword and the Beast versus Kansas, Point of No Return is a slaughter for me, because Kansas is one of those bands that I kind of think I should like more, but I don't really like more. I think that their music should inspire me more, but it doesn't. I think that there's lots of greatness about the band, but I don't feel it, if you know what I'm saying. Whereas Jethro Tull is one of my group of 8 and a band who I have many of their albums and love them quite a bit. This is one of the albums, too, that I also wanted to get because people have told me that this is a lot like Songs from the Wood, and I'm not sure I believe that, but that's what was told me. So on paper, this looks like a one-sided slaughter. But I said that I would listen to the albums and then make my choice. That's how I told him, that it would be based on how I felt today. So just so you know what this is about, the first album, Jethro Tull's Broadsword and the Beast, was released in 1982. Features some great artwork on the cover. It's basically a wizard troll-looking creature with a sword that looks like Ian Anderson in the face, and then the corners have one of each of the other members of the band. Really good-looking album cover. And then I listened to the entire album. There was nothing really outstanding on the album, nothing that really caught my full attention. I said to myself, this is fantastic. But I did hear a lot of good stuff on the album. As to whether it sounds like Songs from the Wood, I don't hear it. I think this is a little bit more closer to their 90s sound than it is to the Songs from the Wood, that sound. But still not very bad, like really pretty classical Tull sounding, and I liked it, but I only heard it once. And with a lot of progressive bands, when I first hear their albums, I tend not to like them. I'm not really sure why that is, but in most cases that is the case. I don't really like them. Not in the case of Jethro Tull here. I like the album, it hasn't had a great deal of life with me so far, but the first listen wasn't bad. Now on to Kansas. This is a band that should be slaughtered here, but this album, Point of No Return, is not an album I've had heard of before, I knew of the album, I hadn't heard it before. I knew that they had the one big hit, Dust in the Wind, on it, which is to me a great song. So I listened to the album, and to be honest, about halfway through the album, the first side, I was like, oh, can this just get over with? I'm not liking this at all. I didn't enjoy any aspect of it at the beginning. It's pretty much what I thought it would be, an American prog band. Lots of off-the-charts soloing, really heavy guitar parts, really heavy keyboarding, like just really, really going all out on the soloing, which is pretty standard for American progressive rock, and part of the reason why I don't really like it. But at any rate, the second half of the album was much better, in my opinion. There was a little more music orientation here, like the songs had meaning to them. There was more structure to them. There wasn't nearly as much soloing. There was still soloing, but it was soloing within context of the songs as opposed to just soloing for the sake of soloing, which is a problem I have with these type of bands. But anyways, and when I say problem, I have the problem. You guys don't have the problem. You like them. Everybody else seems to get along really well with this. I just have a problem with it, that's all. So I listened to the second side, and I really liked the first. So first of all, this album was released in 1977. Did I say the Tull one was released that year? No, I think I said the Tull was released in 82. So you get about a 5-year discrepancy here. This album came out, I believe, right after Leftoverture, which I do own. Couple of, on the backside, there was at least, other than Dust in the Wind, there was at least 2 other tracks I really liked. I did write the name of them down somewhere, but I don't know what I did with them. Anyways, I like them both for the same reason I like Dust in the Wind. It's telling a kind of emotional story, and the music is in context with it. The same with them. There's a storyline, and the guitaring and the keyboards are following that storyline very well, and so I like that a lot. I would say there's nothing on the Tull album that I liked more than Dust in the Wind. And these 2 songs were at least really good and would have fit in near the top of the Tull album as well. But the stuff on the first half of the album I didn't like. It just was annoying as hell, sorry to put it mildly. Couldn't wait for that part to end. So you've got one album that's pretty consistently good, or okay to good, and then you got another album here that's is kind of not so good, then followed by really good. So then it comes down to my choice. Do I go with the really strong material and tolerate the bad material, or do I go with a consistent album? And as much as I thought at the beginning this was going to be a landslide, it hasn't been a landslide. And I'm going to have to do something that I would never have thought possible here. I'm going to actually choose the Kansas album over the Tull album. Wow, I just never thought that would be possible. If you told me that I would choose anything by Kansas over anything by Tull, I would have said you're out of your mind. But I did say that I would give it to listen to, and then however I felt about the albums today was how I felt about it. So I like that second half of the Kansas album more than I like anything on the front half or on the other Tull, on the Jethro Tull album. Now, I'm not saying that the Tull album, when I get it, won't eventually end up way ahead of this album. In all likelihood, that will happen. But just for today, I'm going to give this victory to Point of No Return, and it will move on to round number 2. Well, okay, so that's over. So I hope you liked this video. If you did, please like and subscribe. It's much appreciated, and we'll be back with another Prog battle number 4 of the Great Prog War tomorrow. So have yourself a great day. Bye.